During the 15th to 16th centuries, the Parliament had lost a significant amount of its power to powerful monarchs. A franchise was introduced to the House of Commons so that only landowners who had at least $1,500 in USD could vote for a representative, and there was no private ballot. Parliament would only meet when called upon by the monarch, usually for legitimizing taxes. The monarch could veto any bill before Parliament could even make it into a law, which was applied numerous times in this period. Also to note, Welsh representatives were added to Parliament in 1542. Infuriated by continued political oppression and inspired by recent humanist philosophy, and also the end of the Tudor dynasty, the House of Commons demanded the restoration of parliamentary liberties in the form of the Petition of the Right. Around all of Europe at this time, ideas and morals from ancient times resurfaced, defining the humanist philosophical movement. Increased study of this ancient philosophy brought back ideas of reason and humanity, in which people began to really question the arbitrary divine rule of the king and the god above him. Popular resistance to the king in favor of natural rights to freedom only continued to grow from this point on. The king at the time, Charles I, accepted the petition and promptly dissolved Parliament and bankrupted the kingdom in war so harshly that he had to bring back Parliament so he could legitimize higher taxes. To say Parliament remained pissed would be an understatement. Each infringement of the Parliament's rights turned up the heat, especially within the People's House of Commons. King Charles attempted to arrest 5 prominent members of the House of Commons in 1642, but Parliament refused to be subservient to the king, and when an opportunity was given by a Catholic uprising in Ireland, Parliament raised its own army, titled the Roundheads, to join in against the king. The resulting English Civil War between the Roundheads and the Royalist Cavaliers was brutal, but it ultimately led to the defeat of the Royalists, the capture of Charles I, and his subsequent trial and execution for treason in 1649. The parliamentarians' victory gave way to a temporary English republic, which included an empowered House of Commons and a new army loyal to Parliament. The English Republic proved that Parliament could govern independently of the king and the nobility. However, the leader of Parliament's new army, Oliver Cromwell, grew dissatisfied with the new Parliament's effectiveness and leadership, and dissolved the so-called Rump Parliament. Cromwell's regime constructed a new, unified British Parliament with both Scottish and English representatives. A constitution, called Lambert's Instrument of Government, was codified that would later serve as the basis for today's democratic government, although in practice, Cromwell's rule was a military dictatorship, governed by martial law. During the period of the English Civil War, significant development in political theory occurred, with thinkers like John Milton, Thomas Hobbes, and John Locke writing their political discourse. Milton championed the idea of individual liberty and freedom of speech, while Hobbes introduced the social contract in his work Leviathan. Hobbes argued for a strong central authority to prevent societal chaos and maintain order, proposing that individuals consent to absolute sovereignty in exchange for security and peace. Locke, who began writing after the Civil War, countered Hobbes' views with his own social contract theory. Locke believed that a government could only rule with the consent of the governed and the protection of their natural rights, such as life, liberty, and property, significantly propelling the development of liberal democratic thought. Additionally, new political groups gained influence, such as the Levelers and the Diggers, who advocated for more radical reforms such as universal male suffrage, equality before the law, and religious tolerance, and even more radically, communal ownership of land, economic, and social equality. And that's been the early modern period of British history. I think it's a good place to stop for now, so the next video will continue with revolutions, a modern political system, and attempts at reform. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.